It's Monday, August 10th, 2020. I'll now call to order this regular business meeting of the Moore County Board of Education. Is there a motion?
Yes, Madam Chair, I make a motion the board to enter closed session to prevent the disclosure of confidential personnel information pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11, A1, A5, and A6, and General Statute 115C-319, and to consult with the board attorney and preserve the attorney-client privilege pursuant to General Statute 143-318.11A3.
Is there a second?
So, second.
The motion has been made by Ms. Thompson, seconded by Mr. Dennison. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion carries 7-0. We will now enter into closed session with a return at 6:30 p.m. Thank you.
Chair.
All right, I'll call back to order this meeting of the Moore County Board of Education. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Dennison. Is there a second?
I second.
Second by Ms. Thompson. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Would you please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now I ask Ms. Thompson to lead us in a moment of silence.
I would just ask everyone if they would take this opportunity to join me in a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Grimacy.
Madam Chair, at this time, it's my pleasure to turn it over to Ms. Catherine Murphy for our program highlight.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Closer to the mic and a little bit louder.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, good. Good evening, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the school board. It is my pleasure to present to you 3 important items we will be rolling out over the next several days to help our parents, students, and the community understand what school will look like and what measures we are taking to keep our students and staff safe. First, we have an operational video that demonstrates the cleaning, disinfecting, and child nutrition protocols that we have been taking on. This can be found on the Moore County Schools YouTube page, and we will be launching these videos on social media tomorrow.
The health and safety of our students and staff is always the #1 priority at Moore County Schools. We have implemented the best operational practices and procedures to create the safest environment for our students and staff. Cleaning and disinfecting at a heightened level will take place daily in our buildings. Schools will follow the North Carolina Department for Health and Human Services guidelines for cleaning and disinfecting, including ongoing and routine cleaning and disinfecting of high-touch surfaces. Our custodians will also maintain hand sanitizer stations and ensure there is always soap and paper towels available. Our maintenance department will regularly replace air filters to ensure clean air through our buildings. The maintenance department has disinfected mechanical airways and have flushed all water lines. Floor markers and signs will be posted throughout the school buildings, designating physical distance requirements, illustrating appropriate face covering usage, and reinforcing proper hygiene and hand washing practices. To adhere to physical distancing guidance, pre-portioned meals and bagged lunches will be consumed in individual classrooms. Meals will be delivered to elementary and middle school classrooms, while high school students will be able to get their food from designated meal stations. Our operations staff has worked diligently to ensure that we do our very best to create a healthy and safe environment for our students and staff, so they are able to continue to engage, inspire, and succeed. These processes and procedures may vary slightly at each school.
Our second video is what students and parents can expect on the arrival of their first day of school and beyond as the pandemic remains active.
Moore County is excited to welcome students back for the 2020-2021 school year. We have new processes and procedures in place to protect the health and safety of our students and staff. Families of bus riders must complete the statement of attestation confirming that the student riding the bus has not been diagnosed, nor do they have any symptoms of COVID-19, and attesting that the student has not recently been exposed to anyone diagnosed with COVID-19. Students who do not have the form will be required to have their temperature taken when getting on the bus. Bus riders and bus drivers will be required to wear a mask. Only one student is allowed per seat on the bus. Hand sanitizer and Kleenex will be available on each bus. Once the bus arrives to school, students will be directed by a staff member to the school's designated point to complete the health screening process. Car riders will complete the health screening process in their vehicle. Staff will ask parents brief health questions, and students will have their temperature checked with a touchless thermometer by a staff member and appropriate personal protective equipment to ensure the student is not at risk for experiencing or spreading symptoms of COVID-19. Every student and staff member is required to wear a cloth mask. Moore County Schools will provide 5 reusable masks to each student and staff member. Once the student completes the health screening process, they will go directly to their classroom. We are grateful for each family and their participation in helping to keep our students and staff safe and healthy as we return to school. We know with your help, our students and staff will be able to continue to engage, inspire, and succeed in our schools. These processes and procedures may vary slightly at each school.
I just want to give special thanks to Miss Laura May, who provided the voiceover for those 2 videos. She did a nice job. Finally, we have what's called a Return to School Parent Guide, which is now online at www.ncmcs.org/return to school. You'll see that there's some imagery in the guide to just kind of demonstrate what parents and students can expect when they come back to school. There's also information that goes over procedures for social distancing, health screenings, bus rider procedures, water fountains, social and emotional health, what the policy is or what our procedures are if we have a suspected, presumptive, or positive case in our schools, and so on. So I encourage all parents to please log on to www.ncmcs.org/return to school, and it can be found there. We'll also be adding it to our landing homepage tomorrow and putting it out on social media as well. And with that, I can take any questions.
Let's restate again where parents might find that guide.
www.ncmcs.org/return to school. That's been the central landing webpage that you can also link to from the homepage directly if you want to show where it might be on the homepage.
And so we want to encourage all of our parents, whether they are have questions or not, to go ahead to the homepage and review the parent guide and find that many questions will be answered that they haven't even thought about yet.
Right, and it's downloadable as a PDF and can be printed out. So for parents that maybe don't have internet access, we can certainly make that available in a print version as well.
Thank you. Are there questions for Ms. Murphy? We certainly did enjoy that, although they're pretty fast. Is that our internet system doing it, playing them so quickly?
That's the way the production came about. Otherwise, it starts to drag on. So it is sped up a little bit. That's common with these types of videos, just to keep things moving.
It does.
People can play it as often as they'd like. I also want to note that there'll be a Spanish version of the parent guide posted tomorrow as well. That's in the works right now of being translated, so that will be made available as well.
Okay, and so we're showing now, Ms. May,
This is the homepage, ncmcs.org, and under announcements, you'll see Return to School, and you click there. There's also a big graphic to tell you to click on. That'll take you directly to the web page, and this is where all the information is stored. Return to school information, FAQs, what we do, what the guidance is in case of a suspected, presumptive, or confirmed case, and on and on. And on the far right, we have the Return to School Guide for families. That's in the group where we maintain information for parents and families.
Catherine, I have a question. Where could the parents go to get a printed copy if they don't have internet access?
I can't hear.
You have to say it louder. Get closer.
Where should the parents go that do not have internet access that need a printed copy?
They should ask their schools, or they can contact the central office.
I have a question too. Is there a PDF where they can download that bus form that they need?
The attestation form that's required for buses, where will it?
That is
transfer
being
that?
mailed to all bus riders.
But what if for some reason it doesn't? Is there a way that we can put it up on the website?
It is included on here, but I tell you what, I'll separate it out from the other documents and just put it by itself
Perfect.
as its own printout.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Just, and those videos were fantastic, and I'm just so happy that it was filmed in this new school, too. It's nice to share that with everybody. The guide, is it generally for the on-campus experience only? Is that what the information in there is intended
Right.
for? Okay. Will there be something similar for the virtual academy, or will that be something different?
I don't have any plans for that right now, but I'm willing to entertain that.
I believe that Steve Johnson has put together a document.
Well-
Dr. Locklear and Dr. Metcalf are connected to this meeting. If you don't mind, Ms. Murphy, we can see if one of them can answer that question.
Well, while she's bringing them on,
Okay.
if a Connect Academy student is coming on campus to do athletics, they would need to refer to this guide as far as what the procedures are going to be.
Right, so this
once
is
they arrive.
fully, the guide is intended to be the on-campus experience.
Right.
Right. Okay, that's just
Yeah.
good
We
clarification.
do have a section on the Connect Virtual Academy in that handbook.
Correct.
But also, if Dr. Locklear or Dr. Metcalf, will there be a separate guidebook or parent handbook for the virtual Connect Virtual Academy, or how will parents be informed about that, or is what we have in this handbook sufficient?
Mr. Johnson and Ms. Vang have been working on a handbook that they will be providing to those students who have signed up for that program next week.
Thank you. Is that sufficient, Ms. Wallen-Miller?
It certainly is, thank you.
Well, the videos are wonderful, very professional. I think they do provide a lot of good information very quickly, but I do want to encourage, again, parents to look at the online booklet and, of course, explore the website, because a lot of the questions we are getting personally are actually already, the answers are already posted if parents just know where to look. So if they'll spend a little time with the actual ncmcs.org website or with their individual school website, a lot of questions are being answered. But thank you very much for these professional videos. Are there other questions from the board?
Ms. Murphy, I think it's fair to say that the videos serve as almost a commercial for the website. Yeah, really, they're kind of a teaser. We really want people to come to the website. The videos are not intended to be sufficient for your source of information, but they are intended to advertise the website.
Well, and I think they do a good job for students, too, to know what to expect. So it's a wonderful thing for parents to be able to show to their children so they know what, they can walk them through, especially the younger children, what it will look like on that first day of school.
Yes, because it will be different for parents of kindergartners, of course, who are not able to walk the little darling all the way to the classroom. It's going to be a change for many parents who have walked up to schools and entered the building, since that is going to be heavily discouraged. I want to say thank you and note how eager the children in Aberdeen are to get back to school, to have been willing to come in and take part in these videos just so they could see their new school building. So we appreciate all the children who and the principals who assisted with this video to make it happen.
One of the children actually asked if they were going to be filmed every day that they're in school. So they had a good time with it, though.
We appreciate their efforts and yours and Ms. Mays as well.
Thank you.
At this point, we can move on to the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Dennison,
Second.
second by Ms. Thompson. All those in favor, vote aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the consent agenda carries 7-0. At this time, we will go to public address to the board. Ms. Thompson, do we have speakers?
Madam Chair, I have one individual signed up. I'm not sure if he's here this evening, but it's Jim Simeon with the Superintendent Council.
Madam Chair, I've been monitoring some email traffic among superintendents, and one of Mr. Simeon's colleagues, executive director of one of the other regions, passed away suddenly today. And so I would predict that Mr. Simeon had called in advance to visit with you this evening, but I'm predicting that there's been a close associate that's passed away, and I'll bet he's occupied with that, which is understandable.
Okay. With that being our only
That's the
speaker,
only
then,
one.
we'll close public address. At this time, we will move on to board action.
Madam Chairman, the offer to purchase the Aberdeen Elementary School was brought to your attention, and a recommendation was offered during your work session last week. Mr. Barath is back to answer any lingering questions that you have. Otherwise, you've been provided with the superintendent's recommendation, and the staff is available to assist your deliberations.
Are there questions for Mr. Barath? I just have one. Ms. Barath, how soon will the advertisement for upset bids go out, and where might we anticipate this being placed?
This will be
That's two.
placed in publications such as the News and Observer and the Pilot, and it's with their deadlines, so pending on finalizing the language with Board Attorney Ron Malone tomorrow to get it to those publications to see what date they can make the publication first known. So I anticipate it being Thursday.
And so then it's 10 days from the time the notice appears.
Yes, and the offer has, pending on the board action tonight, will also, ahead of that publication, need to make sure we are in receipt of his deposit for it.
Are there other questions?
Mr. Barath, is that the Raleigh News and Observer?
Yes, the Raleigh News and Observer and the Pilot. And in those paper, News and Observer and the Pilot, it's under the legal notices section.
Other questions? All right, seeing none, is there a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the Pathfinder Investment Management LLC's $1,500,000 offer for the acquisition of the old Aberdeen Elementary School and to direct staff to proceed with the posting of offer for upset bids.
Motion by Mr. Dennison, second by Dr. Brown. The motion is to approve the Pathfinder Investment Management LLC's $1.5 million offer for the acquisition of the old Aberdeen Elementary School and to direct staff to proceed with posting the offer for upset bids. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries 7-0.
Thank you.
I see that our speaker has come in from our public address.
Yeah,
Dr.
Madam
Grimsey,
Chair,
you
I
like
would
to-
suggest you have a second public address, item number 10, and that you proceed with your business, and we forward Mr. Simeon the opportunity under number 10.
Certainly, and welcome, Mr. Simeon. All right, Dr. Grimsey, on to item B.
Yeah, Madam Chair, as presented to you during your work session last week, Mr. Ramey and I had developed a presentation that I shared with you at that time. Getting used to my mask here. And so this evening, the superintendent recommends that the school board retroactively approve an extension of the Southern Pines Land and Housing Trust's deadline for meeting the conditions set out in the board's December 19th, 2019 and February 10th, 2020 resolutions, and defer any final determinations as to the disposal of the Southern Pines Primary and Southern Pines Elementary School sites until the board's December 2020 work session and board meeting, or as soon as possible as may be practical.
Are there questions for Dr. Grimsey? I do not have a question, just a comment, and I made the same comment last week when we talked about this. Obviously, number one priority for all of us, but most especially for our senior staff, is the reopening of schools this coming week, and we appreciate the fact that all efforts must be turned toward the reopening, and this will allow us time to do so. All right, is there a motion to approve?
Madam Chair, I move that the board approve an extension of the Southern Pines Land and Housing Trust deadline for meeting the conditions set out in the board's December 19, 2019 and February 10, 2020 resolutions, and defer any financial determinations as to the disposal of the Southern Pines Primary and Southern Pines Elementary School sites until the board's December 2020 work session and board meeting, or as soon thereafter as practical.
Yeah, I'll make that correction. You said financial determinations, and I believe it's just final determinations.
Final
If that
determination.
doesn't
Correct.
change your motion. Motion by Mr. Dennison. Is there a second?
Second?
All right, the motion then is to approve an extension, and I'm not going to read it all again, but an extension of the Southern Pines Land and Housing Trust deadline and defer any final determinations on Southern Pines Primary and Southern Pines Elementary until December. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion carries 7-0. All right, at this point, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Madam Chair, Madam Vice Chair, and members of the board, as the events of the last several days have demonstrated, we should not expect the 2020-2021 school year to be, by any means, normal. In case you had not noticed, there are a few differing opinions about opening schools during a pandemic, even if you employ a modified hybrid approach such as ours. While we respect all those different perspectives, it is more important than ever for us to keep a steady hand and base our decisions on primary sources of information. To date, all of our actions and recommendations have been informed, guided, and directed by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control, the Governor's Office, and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction. Our staff and I have read many supplemental studies, most prominently the report issued by the American Academy of Pediatrics in early July. And while our own Moore County Department of Health is always ready to assist us, our direct engagement with the Health Department will become more robust than ever as our students and staff return to our school facilities over these next 2 weeks. This challenge is by far the most complex that I have experienced in my 38 years as a public educator and my 20 years as a school superintendent. Never have we confronted a challenge whereby decisions made on any given day might need to change on very short notice. What we know about COVID-19 and how to prevent it or mitigate it can change on a weekly basis and sometimes on a daily basis. We need to be nimble in our approach and remain open to altering previous decisions and established protocols as we navigate through this uncharted territory. For example, our primary expectation during week 1 and into week 2 will be to ensure that all staff and students devote time to ensuring everyone's understanding of and compliance with our safety and health protocols, and supporting everyone's social and emotional reconnection with our family circle. Our obligation to state standards, curriculum pacing, and beginning of year assessments will be worked into our daily routines as our principals and teachers feel their respective schools have achieved that first priority. Until there is a vaccine, regrettably, we must come to accept this as our new normal. We need to rely on facts supported by data and the guidance we receive from experts with local and state health departments. As each new confirmed case presents itself, and there will be confirmed cases, we will act prudently and measurably with the health and safety of our students and staff as our top priority. To assist schools across the state to navigate this new normal, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services has compiled detailed protocols for schools to help mitigate the spread of COVID-19 and how to handle suspected, presumptive, or confirmed cases of the disease. I brought a copy of it with me tonight. I was going to hold it up, but I left it up on the table, and I won't take time to do it now. But Dr. Locklear has displayed that manual. It's this reference guide. It is a public document. It is on our website. I'll give the website, the email address here, the website address here in just a minute. But this is literally the memorandum of agreement between us and our local Department of Health. And there's no sense in us publishing a local one because this is it. We don't want to deviate from this whatsoever. If we have a confirmed case, the protocols in this manual are very clear that the local Department of Health is to respond and provide guidance, and school districts will be obligated to comply with that guidance. Any member of the public can review the protocols on suspected, presumptive, and confirmed cases of COVID-19 at our website. And here's the link to that: www.ncmcs.org/return to school. Might sound familiar. Same website. I want to emphasize that when you look at the title of this manual, it says the first word of the three is suspected. And what I anticipate happening probably more frequently, and we've already seen, is that we're going to have employees, we may have students that are suspected of having COVID-19 merely by having contact. And thus far, the interpretation of that is to merely be in the same room, and there isn't really a lot of clarity on how big the room will be. So it's important for us to keep that steady hand in our resolution of these situations as they arrive, because the majority of our attention will be on these suspected matters, and that's why it's important that we have some patience and some steadiness as we work with the health department to sort out these situations. If we're going to err, we're going to err on the side of caution, which means that it should come as no surprise to anybody when, for a brief period of time, some employees or a student or a small group of students may be temporarily asked to move over to remote learning or teaching while we sort that out. There may be testing involved, there may not be testing involved, but we'll be following the guidance of the local Department of Health. Over the last several months, public schools have undergone a sea change not experienced in the last 100 years of public education. I have witnessed no less than Herculean efforts on the part of our principals, teachers, staff members in the planning, preparation, and execution of unbelievably complicated curriculum and operational protocols to reopen schools this year. Board members and members of the Moore County Schools family, please do not take for granted the Connect Virtual Academy. That literally has been invented in just the last 12 weeks. And the people involved in that deserve our deepest gratitude and appreciation for what they've pulled together there. And I could go down the list to other things, but that's one that I really want to pull out and highlight for you this evening. I feel as though sometimes that 3 weeks go by and we might make the mistake of taking certain things for granted. And I hope that that's not one of them, as I hope that there are some other things that we don't take for granted as well. Above all of our students deserve our support and our commitment in providing them with the safest possible environment. And ultimately, that is the point that I want to make. That remains our passionate commitment, and that's to the whole child. Obviously, everyone's physical health comes first, but their emotional and social needs are a very, very close second, almost in a tie. And I want to make sure that we understand the degree to which we're looking at the complete needs of our students and our employees across the board. So that completes my report, Madam Chair. I remain at your service, and I'm happy to answer any questions that board members have. And as I indicated, Dr. Locklear, Dr. Metcalf, and other members of the senior staff are also available tonight, unless there's any lingering questions from last week's extended conversation.
Thank you, Dr. Grimacy. Are there questions? All right, seeing none.
Okay,
well,
thank you,
for
Madam
your
Chair.
report. At this time, I'm going to use my option to go a little bit out of order and return to the public address to the board, since we have our speaker here with us tonight. Ms. Thompson, would you like to take over?
Yes, thank you. Madam Chair, I would like to call on Mr. Jim Simeon to address the board this evening with the Superintendent Council. If you'd come forward.
Madam Chair, let me apologize on my tardiness. I went to Carthage, and although I was told that the meeting would be here, in my habit, I went to Carthage and had a pleasant. Is that okay?
Can you get a little bit closer to the microphone?
Sure. Yes, ma'am. Is that better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. But I apologize for being late on that. But I had a nice ride and didn't get caught for speeding in the process. But, Madam Chair and members of the Board of Education, it is a great pleasure that I have here this evening to give recognition to a leader that has done so much for Moore County and the citizens of our community. But this person has done even more for the children and the future leaders of our county. I am here to recognize Dr. Robert Bob Grimacy, your superintendent. I'm here to recognize Dr. Bob for many reasons, more than time allows. But since becoming superintendent of Moore County Schools, his accomplishments have been recognized by the citizens of Moore County, but these accomplishments have also been recognized by his peers. A few of them are: the Moore County graduation rate has exceeded the North Carolina rate for the last 5 years at 91.3%. The third grade test averages have also exceeded the state average by 9% at 91.3. The number of courses taken by Moore County high school students since 2005 when it was 883 courses. The total in 2018-19 were 2,255 courses. That's an amazing increase, folks. Under his leadership and that of this board, the county passed a bond issue right at 80% positive. That was amazing to me as a former superintendent and having gone through several bond issues myself as a superintendent. A significant accomplishment in itself, as any of former superintendents or existing superintendents would say to you tonight. And his leadership has extended.
Continue, please.
No. And his leadership has extended across the Sandhills region, as he was chair of the Superintendent's Council this past year and helped to establish a new voice for superintendents of middle-sized school systems in North Carolina. Of course, in my opinion, he visits every school in the system on a regular basis throughout the school year. The evaluation of this is a very unique process, but a great one, because when he is out in the community, you can hear young Moore County students say, "Hello, Dr. Bob. I thank you for coming to my classroom or to my school last week or yesterday." Once again, as a former superintendent, I can say that is the greatest evaluation any superintendent can receive. With this, I would like to take the opportunity to present to you tonight the Sandhills Regional Superintendent of the Year, Dr. Bob Grimacy.
Mr. Simeon, if you'd like to come up here with us, we'd love to have you. Mr. Simeon, thank you for joining us tonight. We're all proud of him, too. At this time, that will take us to board comments. I guess we'll start on the back row here. Dr. Brown?
Yes, I have some. What started off as a stormy afternoon, I want to welcome the new teachers who are beginning their work with Moore County Schools. You have chosen to work in a county that is dedicated to our teachers and students. For those teachers and administrators that are returning, thank you for your commitment to our schools and students. This past school year has certainly been different for all of us, but we have plans in place, teachers trained or are being trained, and an assurance that we all support our schools as we move forward. I look forward to the times when we are able to continue our visits to your classrooms and to witness the positive educational environments that you all provide for our students. For those of you that are in Connect Academy, the virtual academy, your teachers are looking forward to working with you too. As we connect the online students with our face-to-face students, it may be a bit cumbersome to start, but we have intelligent, talented teachers who are working together for the best interests of our students. Please stay safe and have a great beginning for the new year. And don't forget your open houses online this week.
Thank you.
That's right.
Ms. Caldwell?
Yes, I have just a few. I want to welcome all the teachers back to school. I had talked to so many teachers, and they are very eager to see all the children face to face, even though they probably want to give them a hug. They know that to practice social distancing, Dr. Bob. I also want to thank everyone that has had a part in getting our school year started. There are so many little details that had to be thought about, and I want to thank everyone who has spent their days and nights working to make our children safe. And I also want to say congratulations to you, Dr. Bob. We were discussing a while ago that my daughter was in kindergarten when we first met, and she knows Dr. Bob not because she comes to the board meetings, but because he goes to the schools. And she still enjoys your company every time you come and how silly you are to them. So please continue to do that. They love it.
Thank you. Mr. Weaver?
Monday will be the start of the 2020-21 school year. This year will start out like no other any of us have experienced. Will there be bumps in the road? Yes. Will there be setbacks? Most definitely. However, following the guidelines and directives from the governor, the CDC, the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services, and the North Carolina Department of Public Instruction, I believe Moore County Schools has in place reasonable safeguards to protect our students and staff during in-school instruction, and proper protocols in place to respond to suspected occurrences of COVID-19 should that become necessary.
Ms. Wallen-Miller?
Thank you. First, I want to give my heartfelt thanks to all of our nutrition staff and bus drivers who have worked the entire summer to support our children needing food assistance. Through their efforts and through our partnership with the Boys and Girls Club, Moore County Schools has provided more than 128,000 meals over 98 days. 98 days. That's an average of 1,300 meals distributed daily. Second, I want to thank the few dozen or so staff who have worked tirelessly over the last few weeks to prepare for school opening next week. Now remember, not everybody works over the summer, right? So these are the teachers, administrators, and central services staff who have worked to plot out how integrated learning would look for Plan B. They created 9 weeks of integrated lesson plans to share with our core teachers. We learned about that last week. They designed and are close to launching an entire new school with the Connect Virtual Academy, and as Dr. Bob, you said that was in the past 12 weeks. Assigned students to schedules and bus routes, cleaned and prepared our facilities, prepared individual rooms and hallways for social distancing, created protocols and guidelines, matching what the North Carolina Department of Public Health has, to keep students and staff safe ordered and stocked products, communicated with families, and partnered with local and state organizations to ensure all needs and all guidelines are covered. There is, of course, much more, but know this small band of staff have worked under tremendous pressure to lay the groundwork for today, the day that our teachers and our other staff have returned to begin the school year, and waiting patiently for next Monday for the start of the year for students. And next week, our students will return, either virtually or in person. There is still much more work to be done this week. Teachers and staff have a lot on their plate this year, much more than normal. I ask the public to please be patient with our administrators and teachers as they adjust to the first few weeks of school. As with every year, there are always bumps in the road. I think that might be a common theme. But this year, expect even more in this unprecedented time. We will get through it together. Finally, I know I have spoken to many and heard from many that there are concerns about out-of-school care for families, and I want to share that there is a statewide hotline has just been created by the NC Department of Health and Human Services to support families looking for out-of-school care for infants through 12-year-olds. The phone number to call is 1-888-600-1685. Again, that number is 1-888-600-1685. Child care referral specialists will provide referrals to local licensed child care programs that are open and have vacancies for the age of the children from whom care is being requested. Locally, while child care is not an issue for the schools to address, I have been talking with several businesses and organizations in the county about availability of affordable care in Moore County. While there are some regulatory hurdles, conversations have begun with employers and with local organizations to discuss how to expand care options in our community. Please stay tuned for additional information.
Mr. Dennison.
Congratulations to Dr. Grimacy for being chosen as Regional Superintendent of the Year. An honor well deserved, Bob. Thank you.
Vice Chair Thompson.
Many of my comments have already been expressed by my board colleagues, but just to comment on just the work that has been done by Dr. Bob and our senior administrators, principals, teachers, staff all across the board, technology, custodians, maintenance. They have worked tirelessly over the summer up to now for school reentry. So our compliments, kudos to everyone for just doing what you do to make sure that our schools are ready for our students to enter. And congratulations to Dr. Bob on a nomination well deserved.
Thank you. I'm going to also echo some of the sentiments that have already been expressed. I'd like to end today's meeting on a very positive note, as so many very, very good things are happening here in Moore County. The first of these is that we, and I speak on behalf of the entire system, are ready to reopen schools next week. This is such good news for our children, for parents, for teachers, and I think we all approach this coming Monday with great eagerness, tempered by a little trepidation. We know that not everything will go smoothly on Monday. There may be missed bus stops, or forgotten masks, or even students reporting on the wrong day. But the same energetic workers who are putting all this together will solve those problems as well. I also know that we have some school employees who are reluctant to return, but do so out of a sense of obligation to the children they love, and this we also recognize. I want to say a special thank you to our dedicated teachers and their loyal classroom assistants, to our newly trained sanitation experts, also known as custodians and maintenance workers, to our COVID specialists, that's our nurses and front office workers and those specially trained to deal with sick children, and to our bus drivers and food service workers who must totally revisit the way they do business. I also don't want to forget our principals, assistant principals, and interns who seem to have lived on the internet and phone this past weekend as they solved scheduling issues, or our internet technology staff who are working seemingly around the clock to document and pass out Chromebooks and iPads all across the county. And a last thank you to Dr. Grimacy and the senior staff who have pulled this all together. There are good things, brand new things, happening all across Moore County. We opened the doors on a brand new elementary school here in Aberdeen, and will follow shortly with our brand new high school addition at North Moore. We kick off the brand new Blend Ed program that brings homeschooled children into our classrooms. We introduced the 25th school in Moore County, the brand new Connect Virtual Academy that will be serving 1/4 of our students. And we are rolling out the brand new Plan B program to start providing the best we can offer in a combined in-class virtual model. Good things are happening, brand new things are happening, and we are glad to be here to share these happenings with all of you. We ask for your understanding and continued support of our efforts as this new year begins. Thank you. Unless there is other comment, Mr. Dennison?
Madam Chair, I move the meeting be adjourned.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Dennison, second by Ms. Thompson. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, the motion carries 7-0. The meeting is adjourned.